If you read books or texts on philosophical foundations of education, in literature you will find that different authors have taken those 4 areas of philosophy and classified them as tools of philosophy. If in life we want to do anything, we need certain tools. So if you want to do something with philosophy, you also need tools for philosophy. So in literature, you will find that these tools of philosophy are the same as the 4 areas of philosophy. That is metaphysics, epistemology, axiology, and logic. We will look at each of these tools and see how you will be able to use them if you want to do a philosophical study. The first tool is metaphysics. It is related in some ways with the second tool, which is epistemology, and it asks the question, what is real? Basically, with all the kind of information that we are bombarded with today, the fact is that one needs to ask, what is real? What of all this information that is flooding the world do I really need? Based on that, you will be able to do a study and use this tool of metaphysics to understand the reality of what exists. Are the things that are real only the things that can be touched and measured? What is reality? How does one define reality? I think reality is more than what you can simply see, touch, and measure. I think it's what you can taste, what you hear. Sounds are real, feelings are real, emotions are real, and so reality is beyond just what you can see, touch, and feel. This tool is used heavily by behaviorists and existentialists. Behaviorists are people that focus on behaviors, why people behave in certain ways, what behaviors are real and what are not. Existentialists, on the other hand, focus on what exists today. Today is the day of the computer, the virtual reality, technology. What is real about all that? And how can this be transferred to our students? So looking at these 2 areas, we will later on at some point go into more details of these, but right now it is enough to simply understand that behaviorists and existentialists use this tool of metaphysics for their advantage. The second tool is epistemology, which is related or linked to the first tool, which is metaphysics. Epistemology simply tries to answer, how do we know what is real? Okay, so metaphysics says this is real. Epistemology says, well, how do we know it is real? So answering the how does one find out this is real, this exists? Is something that's breathing, that's alive, that's real only? Aren't mountains real just because they don't breathe? And so on. Those are the kinds of questions that we would need to answer if we were looking at an epistemological approach to some philosophical study. And this is a live question today. Do we listen to standardized test results to determine how much students know or read their portfolios? In other words, we also have annual exams in the matric, in intermediate, and so on. Do those results really reflect the true assessment of individuals, of our students? If it doesn't, then what is wrong? If it does, then why do we need change? Those are the kinds of questions then that will be answered. But we have to have a base to understand and then use these tools to our advantage to understand the philosophical understandings of why we do things, why we don't change what we do, and why should we change anything that we do. So looking at these 2, the first 2 tools, you begin to understand how these 2 tools are connected. Metaphysics, which is the real, epistemology, which is how do I know it is real? And that's the connection between these 2 tools. Once we understand the 2 connections, we may need to use metaphysics and epistemology side by side instead of using them individually to find out more detailed understanding of philosophical basis of our thinking.